webinar for August 2009, the third installment of Res Ducis. We left off talking about shop mechanics. It was supposed to be about terminology, but I realized that I can't really talk about terminology. I can't describe fighting terminology without speaking about mechanics, because mechanics is important to the way I classify blows. The one class of blows that was left off last time was wraps. That's because I don't have a specific category for wraps. Quick review, we talked about cuts, snaps, punches, torques, and thrusts. A wrap can be mostly a cut, or a wrap can be mostly a snap. There are maybe other ways to do it as well, but those are the two most common. The way most people learn to throw a wrap in the SCA is a lot like a cut. It's very hard on the arm, it's very hard on the shoulder, the elbow, can lead to a lot of tendinitis. And what most people tend to want to do, and I'm a lefty and people taught me to do this when I started, is they tend to want to throw the arm out, let the sword come around so that the back edge, the false edge, is facing towards the pel, and then pull up at the end, and pull into the shot. Some people will even teach to bring the shoulder back so it looks kind of like this. I have a hard time throwing it now. It's going to look like garbage because I haven't thrown that kind of wrap on purpose in years. Okay, it looks something like this. Okay, it may look like this up close. It's about the only time I ever throw that kind of wrap is to the head at super close range. I'm going to change the angle so you can see it again. Okay, that's a cutting wrap. If you notice, my arm, my shoulder, my elbow are all going in the same direction towards the blow. The wrist is somewhat tight at the point of impact because my arm and my torso is still contributing some mass to the blow. This will strike best when it's low on the sword. A good low wrap to the back of the head. Classic lefty technique. Someone's on their knees. Another classic lefty technique. Less effective to the leg because once again it's a low speed, high mass blow. So as we talked about last time, when that hits an armored leg, it doesn't feel as hard as it does to the head. To make it go to the head, you put it to the leg, you put a little more snap into it, and try to hit the unarmored part in the back. The way I prefer to teach a wrap is to pretend like you're throwing a perfect snap. As we reviewed last time, the snap goes in a straight line along the line of attack. As the arm slows down, the sword accelerates, and that gives us our snapping motion. Looks a bit like this. I got rid of my cross-hilted sword for this video because I realized my mechanics didn't look very good because the weight there. With less weight here, it's more conducive to the kind of mechanics that I normally throw. So let's look at the snap again. The snap again. All snaps. Now, in order to make a good wrap, I'm going to throw that same snap, except I'm going to throw it not at my opponent, but about 30 degrees away from my opponent, as if I'm hitting a pel over here. Once I reach that point of impact, just like I'm hitting the pel, my tip speed is very high, and my hand is hardly moving. Looks like that. This pel is too springy. So, I throw my snap out to the side. Here's my snap, and my hand freezes in space, but I let the tip continue as my palm rotates down. Fingers are fairly loose. The tip already has all the speed that it needs. I'm not adding any more speed to it. I'm not trying to add any more power to it. I'm not trying to use my arm and shoulder to add power. Everything is disconnected at the point of impact so that my arm and shoulder are not part of the massive impact, so there's no stress on my joints. It's going to look like this. Okay, here's my snap, and here's how my snap continues. If you're farther away, I can throw the snap very close to you, and at the very last second turn it over. Baller's a big fan of that for a leg cut. He throws what looks like a leg snap, okay, but what you don't realize is it's actually a leg wrap, and there's only that much wrap to it, and it looks like a snap. Here's the snap, here's the wrap. You thought you blocked it, but there's an extra 2 inches of depth And so you didn't block it, and it works over and over again, because no matter how many times the fighter sees it full speed, it keeps looking like a snap. You throw directly, fairly close to the line of attack towards the target. The more you move away from that line of attack when you throw your snap, the closer your target has to be and the deeper you're going to hit. I throw my snap directly at the target. I throw my snap a little bit to the side of the target. Watch my arm turn. A little bit more to the side. Any more, I have to get closer. I can get really close and I can throw my snap towards you. That becomes a little more challenging because this speed is going to tend to want to slow down as we get here, and I have to fudge the mechanics a little bit at the end. You see I go here. I can do that without changing the mechanics at all. I'm throwing a snap at an imaginary opponent, allowing the wrap to continue through. Snap at the imaginary leg over here, allow the wrap to carry through. A snap at you, a snap to the imaginary opponent that carries through, a snap to an imaginary opponent further away. Okay, as long as we're talking about mechanics, some important pointers. Some mistakes people make on wraps. One of them is to have a lot of up and down and forces going in different directions rather than a smooth acceleration curve. And what I mean by that is, if I want to hit you with a snap, the best snap, the most powerful and fastest snap, is going to have a flat plane, right? It's not going to dip down and then go back up. It's not going to angle up and then back down. All this extra extraneous motion doesn't help me. I want to keep the plane. That's fine. Most people do that. Most people throw a flat cut, same way. A nice steady plane. If I throw it a bunch of different directions and I try to go down, I rob myself of a little bit of power. But when it comes to wraps, because people's wrists are too straight, or because their armor restricts them, or because they're unwilling to change the grip on their sword, a lot of times you get this kind of effect, where the wrap starts out in one direction, has to turn sideways, and then has to turn back up, and the hand actually makes a dip as you go, and it looks a bit like this. Let's see if I can fake it. So watch my wrap. Okay, I start out here. In order to get the blade in, I have to dip and roll over. If I can do it. There we go. Okay, and you see that a lot. By allowing the sword to freely swing, you eliminate that and can create a smooth, flat plane. I can tilt the plane down, make it a leg blow. Once the plane is tilted down, I can angle it up from side to side, and then it becomes an underhanded wrap. This is an underhanded wrap. Throw an underhanded wrap to the armpit, throw an underhanded wrap to the butt cheek, you can throw an underhanded wrap to the underside of the arm. Somebody's using a high guard. You can throw a flat wrap to the shoulder, flat wrap to the head, flat wrap to the leg. Notice it's flat in this plane. Okay? It's tilted down, but it's flat in this plane. Then you go to an overhand wrap. Overhand wrap, overhand wrap. Overhand wrap is used less often to the leg because it tends to skip off, but it's great for the shoulder, great for the top of the back of the head. It's another target. You can't hit any other way. If you take that wrap, turn it all the way into the vertical, then it becomes a scorpion. Some people like to throw a scorpion that's a bit of a cut, and it looks kind of like they practice it like this. Put the sword down the back, throw it up, and pull down. Okay? You can more effectively throw the scorpion as a snap at the sky. I'm throwing a snap, and then I'm letting it turn over. Here's my snap, and then I let it turn over with a weak grip. Okay? There's a scorpion. So, for terminology, wraps can be cutting or snapping. They can be flat, they can be underhanded, they can be overhanded. You turn it completely overhanded and it's a scorpion. Very common drills we use, we go from overhand wrap to tent block back to overhand wrap. And it looks like this. Okay, underhand wrap to sliding block. Underhand wrap to sliding block. This is a down block. This is a specialized kind of down block. Used righty versus lefty. When I hit your leg and I step out, you want to hit my leg back. My shield is out of position to do that. I bring the shield and the sword back at the same time, so as you go to your knees, I don't have to join you.